Hello DJs, this is Gennady Zhuga, MIDI controller developer. I'm about to show you how you can easily manipulate a complex Traktor effect with just one knob on your controller. Now let's see how it works. You can do all this by simply using a free DJ utility, Graphic MIDI Mapping. The Graphic MIDI Mapping technology has been developed specially for the wireless DJ gloves Tornado. Graphic MIDI Mapping is a universal DJ tool, which lets you control several parameters of a complex musical effect or synthesizer, with just one knob on your controller. Concurrently, the principle for change of each one of the parameters is unique and defined by so-called MIDI map. This leads to a possibility to create individual MIDI maps for each parameter. This tool can also be used to send MIDI messages between music studios, or to create automations in those studios which lack the dedicated tools to perform the task. Let's have a glance at the software's interface. The software has 6 independent inputs, meaning that you can connect up to 6 independent knobs of the MIDI controller. Each input can have up to 10 output channels, thus you can create up to 10 master MIDI maps. MIDI maps can be easily drawn in a specific editing software. There is an option to save MIDI maps in a file, which of course can later be reopened. Now, for example, you can load up a sine MIDI map. A saw MIDI map, and various other shapes. Let's look at an example. We'll create a transpose scratch effect, the Traktor built-in effect. First, we'll set up the MIDI in port for the graphic MIDI mapping. In the MIDI in settings, let's choose our MIDI controller port. Let's connect, for instance, our first input to the necessary knob on the controller. To do this, press Learn and turn the knob. Now the software has seen the knob and it is now controlling the parameter. Now let's create individual MIDI maps for the transpose stretch effect parameters. We'll control stretch, key, and dry wet level. Press Add to add 3 outputs, 3 standard MIDI maps. And standard MIDI maps translates the initial level of the controller to an output without making any changes to it. Let's assign our first map to control stretch. The second one will control the key. And the third one will control the dry wet bar effect. Now let's define the numbers of the master controllers and set up the controller manager for Traktor. We'll add some control parameters and let's make the Traktor learn. Stretch is going to be knob number 1. Click Learn and press Link to send the internal signal. Knob 3 is going to control key. Click Learn and then you press Link once again. And last but not the least, dry wet. Once again, Learn and Link. As you can see, all the parameters are changed equally, as we are using the standard MIDI maps to control all the parameters. Individual curves, MIDI maps, are drawn depending on the scenario of the chosen musical effect. The scenario and the effect performance can be chosen upon the musician's preferences. Now let's make a scenario. The stretch parameter shall follow this map. The key parameter will follow this map. And the dry wet will maintain the standard curve. Now we've got a pretty interesting scenario. All of this is done by just one knob, without thinking which parameters to change and which knobs to turn. We can also add an automatic effect activation. To do that, let's add a new MIDI map and let's call it Switch. Let's assign the CC message. Let's draw the MIDI map. Switch will also maintain the standard key curve. Now let's set up the controller manager. Now we'll add the effect activators. FX Unit 4 activator. Click Learn. Let's add the effects activator for track B. Click Learn. We have made an automatic effect activator with just one little knob. Now everything we have is automated. Let's just give it a listen. As you may know, the capacity for a MIDI channel is 31.250 kB. That is why, to monitor the MIDI stream, there is a dedicated indicator at the bottom of the app, which shows the MIDI data speed. The software has a compact MIDI view, which lets you use it easily. When all the changes are made and the setup is done, you can switch to MIDI view, and the app will no longer stand in the way of your DJ software, in our case Traktor. There are a couple more distinct features of the software, one of them being the ability to save all the setups to a file, which lets you create your own bank of presets. The presets can be loaded into a playlist and later on compiled into a preset list. You can instantly load up a preset from the list in real time and load the needed preset, needed effect. This is our new preset. And this is the standard preset from the bank of presets. Moving forward, let's look at one more example of how you can use the GMM as a tool to create automation. For that, let's switch the MIDI in to Global DJ Virtual Input. The goal of our automation is following. Let's say while mixing we want to control the low frequencies of 2 channels with just one knob or mouse. Let's set up the controller manager. Let's add an output controller. It'll be a master controller, meaning that it will send the MIDI data. Let's make it send CC90. Let's connect it to the input of our GMM. Now we add the slave controller, which will receive the MIDI messages from the master. We define the controller number. We press link. And then we draw a map in such a way that the filters work opposite each other. Now we have such an automation that when our mouse controls one knob, it controls the other. Thank you for your attention.